Missing heirs and mental illness. The bizarre case of Letitia James's father's estate. I'm going to take you down a rabbit hole of wild stuff here. And who's got mental illness? This is insane, guys. Okay, so stick with me here. Check this out. New York Attorney General Letitia James has long portrayed herself as a crusader for justice, particularly when it comes to handling powerful figures accountable for financial misconduct. But a closer examination of the estate of her late father, Robert James, reveals a disturbing and iconic tale of legal manipulation, family dysfunction, and possible fraud, with Letitia James herself at the center. In 1983, good year. 3 years before Robert James' death in 1986, Letitia James was just 24 years old and living at her family's two-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn with several siblings. She had not yet entered law school, by the way. Just to clarify that. 24, she had not entered law school. You don't know what age is normal for that, but it's a little weird that you don't, you usually kind of go into that right out of school when you get into college. But anyway, so that's when she and her father, Robert James, applied for a mortgage loan to purchase a small home at the 11404 Inwood Street in Queens as husband and wife. That's it's kind of strange. Why would they do that? You can see behind me here, rolling up, there's just some of the mortgage papers and all. So, according to federal law, misrepresenting one's relationship on a loan application is a form of false representation and or mortgage fraud, a serious offense punishable by fines or imprisonment. Sound familiar? Just kind of, Anyways, though Robert James died in 1986, it wasn't until 1999 that Letitia James filed for letters of administration over his estate. The Inwood Street house she purchased with her father was listed as the only asset. Okay, so typically when you do that, you need to make sure you try to find all your siblings because they may be entitled to part of this estate. There could be, fiduciary, responsibilities that go along with that. And she claims that she did, but this is really where it gets kind of strange. Letitia claimed the estate's value was $105,000, matching the bond she posted as administrator, and claimed there were no debts, no income, and no personal property. Now remember, she'd already she was entered in law school and she was doing law school stuff. Okay, all right. So perhaps most curiously, Letitia James handled the entire process pro se, meaning she did not retain legal counsel. She wrote and submitted every petition, affirmation, and waiver herself, and even filed a sworn declaration confirming she was not acting as an attorney or accepting compensation from the estate. And there's some of the stuff here you can see rolling through. All right, so this level of self-representation is rare in estate matters, especially when the filer is a licensed attorney and public official. It also meant that Letitia, being both heir and administrator, faced no legal cross-examination about the estate's inconsistencies. The Robert James estate filings reveal a fractured family dynamic. Letitia James stated that two of her siblings, Alberta and Marcia James, were missing. The two missing sisters were listed with their whereabouts as unknown. Letitia James, acting as petitioner and being the daughter of Robert James, filed an affirmation of due diligence detailing her many efforts to locate them. Okay? So apparently she tried to find these people so that, we could make sure that nobody was entitled to anything. She claimed to have contacted 11 hospitals, including Harlem, Bellevue, Lincoln, and Kings County. She contacted the New York City Department of Corrections, New York State Correctional Services, and the U.S. Department of Justice. She checked with New York City mortuaries and all 5 bureaus. Letitia James reported that their mother, Nellie James, had not seen Alberta since January of 97. That's kind of weird that you don't go kind of looking for your siblings. After a little while, you kind of be like, I wonder what's up with old Billy Bob. Anyhow, or Marcia since 1989. So these two have been, kind of out of the mix and could not provide any or no further information on their whereabouts. Like I said, that just really seems odd. It may be true, but odd. Okay. Now, other family members also had no contact or information What level mental illness could so by the way, so what level of mental illness could cause sisters Alberta and Marcia James to simply disappear? No other family members heard anything out of them, right? So in an estate filing, Letitia's brother Ricky James was confirmed to have been diagnosed with schizophrenia around 1975. He was not under medication or doctor's care at the time of the filing. Okay, pretty wild. You can see here some of the stuff. But he lived at the estate property that Letitia had purchased with her father and refused all voluntary medical treatment. Pretty strange. The court was informed that Ricky had never been legally certified as developmentally disabled or mentally incapacitated under New York law. The court was notified that despite his condition, the family objected to involuntary hospitalization. The estate filing indicates that Letitia's 7 siblings, 3 of them suffered from mental illness. There's a pattern here, guys. Mental illness such as schizophrenia and certain mood disorders that have hereditary components, meaning that maybe not just those were the ones that were mentally ill. How many other siblings could have been diagnosed or possibly not diagnosed, but just existing without being diagnosed as mentally ill? Kind of gets you wonder, doesn't it? Though not detrimental to her own mental health, if 3 siblings were affected with this, could indicate James has a strong familial disposition to mental illness herself.
And you want me to sit in my seat and stand idly by and allow this craziness to happen? You could come after me if you want, but you elected me to stand up. You elected me to use the law. You elected me to go to court. You elected me to continue to challenge this administration. You elected me to stand up for the least of God's children. You elected me to continue fighting on. And I will fight on.
It definitely goes without saying that there is a strong possibility that we could be dealing with an individual that does have some form of bleed down effect of mental health issues. Maybe it's hereditary or it's because some of the things that she's seen. If these family members are missing like that, there's a possibility that she had a really strange upbringing, and that could have been a playing factor into the way that she thinks. I actually have noticed this in homes. I've been around a lot of different things growing up, and it seems like this kind of behavior does breed out of chaotic home life. And there could have been significant issues with the mother and father and their relationship during the upbringing of these children. And it's it sounds like he died at a young age. Did he die from some form of drug overdose? Did he have an issue with substances? And did this play a factor in how she's turned out? We're definitely dealing with somebody who doesn't seem like they're operating on a normal brain function. I'm just saying, whether it's hereditary or it's manufactured because of her home crises. Here's how she handles somebody who's asking her a simple question on just the basic fact that now the shoe is on the other foot with her problems and alleged mortgage fraud and more than likely other significant crimes along the way that will probably be brought to light. Thank you guys for watching. Here it is.
Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be imprisoned for mortgage fraud?
Thank you for coming. We want to thank him for coming. We respect all opinions. Everybody knows those allegations are baseless. They're discredited. And so we want to thank him.